Yes, yes. If you do not know, this is our home. We call it the Brinery because of pickles.
Because of pickles.
And
oh, that's why.
yes, you are gonna learn so much tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
About all the things you didn't want to know.
Deep lore.
The deep lore.
Yeah.
My name is Maura.
I'm Brad.
This is Brad. Our alter egos are also pickles and Snickers.
And Snickers. Yes.
And it will become apparent throughout the talk why. But yeah, thank you all so much for being here on our 4th anniversary of publishing. I honestly didn't realize we'd get this far when we first started it. I was like, oh, let's just try it. Let's just see how long we go.
Yeah, we thought it would be a one issue, if that, and then that would be it.
And now we are on our 12th publishing cycle. It's it's insane. So thank you. I mean, it's because of you guys. It's not because it's because you guys are here and you are like engaged and reading and submitting and working with us through our like very like tight editorial cycles. So we really appreciate all of your support there. But yeah, like where should we start?
Probably at
the beginning.
COVID.
COVID, 2020. 2020. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Blur.
There's a little bit of blur. I remember that because that was before I met you.
Right.
And it was just awful. I mean, you guys remember, like it was awful. I mean, yeah, because I didn't know you, but also because like I didn't like meet anyone. I didn't know any of you before then, and I was just like I knew like the people in my program. I was doing my PhD in biomedical engineering at that point,
At NC
and
State.
I just like only saw my 2 other roommates, and like thank God I had like 2 other roommates because I wouldn't see anyone other than them. I remember like everything was on Zoom, right? Like how many like Zoom conferences did everyone go to? Like Zoom classes. Were you guys doing Zoom classes? You're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It was not great. It was not the best time. And so I just remember feeling during that time is like I want to do things in person. I want to like, physically like connect and like see people's faces and like have that human connection again. Because it's not the same. We know it's not the same now, like that mediation through screens. So end of 2020, I finally like dive deep into the Catholic adult community here. And that's when I met Brad. And I had this kind of idea of like, oh, there's so many like smart people in this area who like aren't doing like theology or philosophy like as a career necessarily.
Right. There are a lot of PhD students, but not all of them are, PhDs in theology. But we all like theology.
Yeah.
And
or just like I don't know. I realized that like every person has like this kind of philosophy of life, whether they realize it or not, and that's how they live out how they live out their faith. And so wanting to kind of get that written down and like in a creative way and distributed. But also I think like it was meeting Brad and talking to him about like art and literature and poetry. Like I didn't really like poetry, honestly, before I met Brad. I thought it was okay. But then you started like reciting Gerard Manley Hopkins to me and it's like,
I wish I could say writing poetry, but I can't. But I at least like poetry, and so could share some.
But it all started to connect. Yeah. So it actually like got me back into like wow, like there's like just like such beauty like within our faith, but like the lens through which we see the world, and our faith like just makes things like that much more magnified. And so that's why I started thinking like okay. There are so many outlets already for young adults to get together. If you guys remember during that time, there was like, I don't know, like basketball and soccer and frisbee, and those were just the sports. There were also like all the...
There were like trivia nights that were happening at various like Newman Center and all of these sorts of things. And so, as everybody was emerging from the being under the rock during, COVID lockdowns, like that summer and fall, like everybody came out from all the different parishes where things used to be siloed, and then all of a sudden you had this like massive, connection between all the different Catholic young adults throughout the metro area.
Before I thought like Chapel Hill was so far.
Right. No,
like
seriously.
I lived in Southwest Raleigh. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to Chapel Hill.
Like my uncle and cousins live in Raleigh, and I was in residency at the time at UNC, and like I went one time to Raleigh in like the 2 years before COVID. And then after that, realized, oh, it's actually not that far. That's like basically where Ultimate Frisbee is. And so, it was like, shrank, this whole metro area. So the point is, though, that like Maura and I loved all the different things, like from the Ultimate Frisbee to, the trivia night type things, or, some of the intellectual talks and Thomistic Institute things and all of that. But it was so widespread, and there were so many different options. That we could never be at everything at one point, and then also everybody couldn't be together at all the things, right? So it became this kind of, fracturing of different experiences, different cool ideas that people had and talked about at this one thing versus that one thing. Yeah. It was like, well, it would be great if we could get all of that and have a common space that's like asynchronous in some ways. So, like, you don't have to be at that event on that night to be able to experience that thing. And so Maura had brought that up, and I was like, you know what, that's a good point. Like, I haven't thought about this, but like when I was in college, I was a member of a couple of debating societies, and one of them would publish a semesterly like journal of student content. And I was telling Maura about that. I was like, I wish things were like college, where you could go do all the different things and be in the same physical space. Why does it have to be relegated just to that? And then Maura's like, well, actually, you don't have to let your memes be dreams, and all of these things.
Well, it wasn't just that. It was also like that intellectual rigor that you got in college, and like all those like interesting conversations that you would have like 3 a.m. Like whatever.
Totally outside the confines of a class.
Yeah, like godforsaken, like dive bar you're at, and it's just like that was what we missed. Like having it be able to be shared across like spaces and times, and where you wouldn't have to like be in like Chapel Hill, Raleigh, like on this date on this night, to be able to get that like really good like community and convivium. So the magazine from your debating society,
the academic review
made me realize like, oh, like if other like I know young adults can do this on their own, like you don't need to have like actual publishing house. Like this seems like low hanging fruit.
And there's no reason that we have to be in college to justify doing it. I'm gonna put the hot sauce away.
It cannot resist the spice.
The spice must flow.
The spice must flow. And so I thought like, okay, it must be like. It's really easy to like get like a couple of our friends to write like a few pieces. We'll do like some light editing, slap it together, and call it a magazine.
Like a Word document. It went through various things. It was like, do we just make it a Word document? It's low input. Maybe like
staple it together.
And if we have a physical copy, do we just print it on printer paper?
Well, no, I think like the thing was it was always going to be physical, right?
Oh, well,
like it was
true.
always going to be print only because well, something in my mind said like I don't want to set up a website. But also the second thing was like coming out of that like era of COVID, I just didn't want to have screens anymore. I was sick of it. Yeah. I wanted to have something physical that I could hold, I could like mark up, and like rip apart or whatever. Something that was created that I can connect with through the world, and not through a screen. So yeah, it was always going to be print only, which we have gotten some pushback for, but I think it has kind of maintained the character of the Snickle.
Right, to be embodied, to be something to unplug, and something where ideally it would be disseminated person to person. So we always do release parties and all of that and hope that it gets out, but the idea is to read it and then pass it along to somebody else, so that there is an interaction that occurs.
Yeah.
Right, so that you can say, oh, I really liked this piece. Not only read the Snickle, but I like this. Let's talk about that, or something along.
But then they say like, well, what's a Snickle?
And then also, well, what the heck
is it?
Why?
Okay.
Snickle?
So why do we call it the Snickle?
So yeah, as we were developing this idea, we were like, again, multiple stages. So physical copy or online, and decided, physical copy. Well, okay, if physical copy, then what is it going to look like? Is it just printer paper stapled together, or is it going to be something more of a finished product? If it is a finished product, how do we even do that? And
it's also like the platform. Like the words need something beautiful to present them. Kind of like a beautiful picture, like or artwork. Like the frame also matters. You know, the frame is. I used to think it's just a frame, but it's also showing like the importance of the piece if you have a beautiful frame. And so like the beautiful words and the beautiful artwork in the Snickle, like we wanted to make the format of our magazine also beautiful, also like something meaningful and weighty. So that's why it's not just like pages stapled together.
Right, and so we were able to find a place that printed it. Ideally, we wanted to do like a local print shop, but it's unfortunately like super expensive to do that with very limited options. So we were like, oh shoot, okay, we can't do that. But
unless we buy the machines ourselves.
Which would be a game changer. But again, the high upfront cost and venture capital is not super into local print only magazines. So either way, so then we found a place that we could order online printed copies. And then at that point, it was like, okay, well, now we need to solicit the content. But in order to do that, we've got to figure out, what are we going to call it?
What are we going to call it?
And so, one of the ideas was something like, oh, well, we could do like Veritas or something like that. But it's
something Latin and highbrow, like, so like people know that we're serious, right?
Right, exactly. So people will take us seriously because we're going to try to prove ourselves like this is going to be a brand new thing. We want people to like really take it seriously. And so anyways, like we were like, okay, it's got to be maybe some sort of Latin phrase. And then we kept thinking about that and we're like, well, no, like, if they like thought that it was too intense, then they might
no
be
one would want to
submit.
Yeah.
And we also don't want to like make it only an academic theological journal.
Yeah.
We want
Again,
it to
was
be personal and
it was meant for like
approachable
everyday people, like regular, like pull them off the streets, like, hey, like I know you have thoughts, write them down and submit them. And like making that process like to be heard, to get published, and to really like understand your own thoughts and your own beliefs through the act of writing and creating. Like I think that was what I really wanted to democratize. It's like, okay, we're gonna make the activation barrier nothing. Like, and we've gotten like some stuff, but like it was important for me to know that like anyone can submit, and then we will help you through like the really tough process of midwifery, which is the aspect of editing and like getting your work from ideation to what was vomited onto a page to like actual like presentation and like for like public consumption and thought. So
like a process of trying to help everybody grow in like editing and writing techniques.
But if it's called like Veritas, none of those people are going to want to submit. So for some reason, and Brad...
And I don't remember exactly where I even... So all I know is that in this phase of trying to determine do we name this, somebody sent me a meme.
We were dating at this point. And in this period of like you trying to woo me, you would send me daily memes.
Yes, exactly. I was like, I really got to seal the deal. Send her memes. Anyway.
Looks fade, guys.
But memes
humor
stay the
is
same.
forever.
Yeah, humor is forever.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, I saw this meme, and I think it was for at least a while, if not still, the group me like image for our group me. And it was a Dixie plate just like this in a poorly lit room, a picture of it on a table. And it's got like a puddle of pickle juice and then a Snickers bar inside of a hollowed out pickle that surrounds it like a shell. And then it's totally untouched. And the caption reads, "What's the matter, babe? You've hardly touched your Snickle." And I laughed for like 5 minutes straight. I was like living alone at the time, I lived alone for for all of residency for 4 years straight in the same place, and I remember exactly where I was because of the laugh fit that I had. And had I stopped breathing, I would have died because there would be nobody there.
No one would have been interested. Yeah.
But I texted Maura. I was like, I know what we need to call this. Hear me out. And then I sent her the meme.
It was a total joke, actually. Like, it was actually a total joke.
I thought there was a 0% chance that she would bite.
But then, like, something in my mind, I think it was, like, inspiration. Like, divine inspiration. Because the moment he sent me, it was stupid, but I laughed. And the tagline came to me, it was like, fermented thought, paradoxically flavored. And that's, like, and there's, like, okay, we have to call it the Snickle now.
Yeah, exactly.
And like just...
Yeah, combinations of opposites in unexpected ways and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of embodying the idea of creativity and exploration of different ideas that we wanted to have and platform with the Snickle. And it was absurd, right? So it made it more approachable in our eyes. And, hopefully that's been the case and been received that way. And again, it had the third added benefit of being a conversation starter, right? Like, what is a Snickle? And then you get to talk about it.
And people remember it. Like, once you tell them, once you go through the whole backstory,
it's
like...
so dumb that people are like, oh my gosh, why not? You know, and so anyways, we were like, yes, this has got to be it. And so then we printed out flyers and went to like soccer frisbee. And we're just like for a solid month or two, like in July,
like all the
I
like the
think it
small
was.
groups.
And just being like, hey guys, like just submit, just submit anything to this, and you know, had a QR code and you know, all of that sort of stuff, and then we were expecting, again, I can't emphasize this enough, we thought that we would have at most 3, 4, maybe 5 submissions, and then we got a good number,
like a dozen.
Yeah, I think it was at least a dozen. And so,
it was just us at that point. Like we didn't have like any graphic design people. So as you can see on the far left here, that was our first cover.
Yeah, exactly. So very
bare bones,
you know.
very academic.
I'm not very
coded,
artistic, so I was like, Maura, this is what we got to do. It's got to be like very minimalist and all of that sort of stuff. So Maura did 90% of the editing. I am very bad at spelling and grammar, and so either way, I tried. But Maura like not only did a lot of the actual, you know, paper editing, but did the entire arrangement on Publisher.
In InDesign. Yeah, it's one of those I don't know if any of you guys have like done like college journals or like newspapers, things like that, and worked with InDesign, but it's like, I don't know, like the Cadillac version, or like, I don't know, it's very overpowered for what we actually needed it for. And I spent so many hours trying to learn how to do like all these like small things that like are not intuitive if you've always used like Word, you know, as your publishing document. So yeah, that was rough. But then we found Canva.
Yes.
And everything got a lot
Molly
better.
Jenkins, who designed the second cover.
She's designed all the covers
and
since.
Subsequent
yeah.
And so, like through starting with our second issue, we actually started to ask for help because we realized, oh my goodness, you know, doing this 12 pieces every 3 months, because initially it was meant as a quarterly publication, and we did do it 4 quarters in a row. But then after that, we were like, we can't do it. We then pushed it out to trimesterly and then settled on semi-annual because it does take a lot of work, even as the team has grown. And so,
well, the number of submissions have also grown.
Yeah, and the number of submissions have also grown. Like we started out with maybe 14, 16 pages or something like that, and then our highest number of pages was pushing 32, if not 28. Either way, like really increasing the amount of content. But starting with the second, and Molly Jenkins with like editing and layout and all of that. And then in the third, bringing on more folks for additional.
And that's really been like the theme of the Snickle 2 is like, is that it started with us, but like it really has like sustained and grown because of other people. Like Molly saying, hey, like raising her hands, like, do you need help with graphic design? It's like, yes, we do. Yes. Having like the other editors come onto the board and saying like, do you need help? And so like, obviously we have the print version here, but like clearly we also have events too. So maybe the second point here, or third point, whatever we're on, like, why do we not write at Write Night?
Yes. So yeah, Write Night was originally designed as a means of getting people together to co-work.
To actually write.
In the evening on a Friday night.
It was to the service of the actual journal.
Right, to serve for increasing content for the journal, because again, we were afraid that we wouldn't get all that many submissions. So why not have a time for people to write their submissions? Do it in community. Have like a little bit of a 30-minute talk session, and then 2.5 hours of writing while we're all quietly here with this number of people. And then very early on, like within the first one or two.
It's because...
well, yes, exactly. So I wanted to blame the number of people, but it's definitely because of me early on.
It's because we have an external processor and an internal processor.
Right. So instead of writing, I was just like talking with people about either things that were relevant to the publication.
And my attempts to maintain the cone of silence
did
not go well.
Yeah, Maura tried to establish a cone of silence because this was
there would be an interior portion and then an exterior portion. The people outside could talk. The people inside were serious writers and write.
Right. But the boundaries would always blur. And then, so one of the things is in my debating societies in undergrad, we'd have weekly meetings where there were a lot of presentations. And so I loved that. And that was how I learned like things that I never would have learned ever in my life, right? Like I did a lot of science, and so all of my political science, history, philosophy, all of that I really learned in undergrad was through my peers giving presentations. And it was very edifying, and I was like, we should try to bring something like this to bear in this community that we've got this monthly occurring event. So why not have people sign up and present on whatever topic they like.
Whatever passion project they have, or like, really love this like saint or this person, like, let me share my love of this topic. So
to try to unify the mission of the Snickle, to grow together in community, while also trying to unpack some of the intellectual and creative sides of the faith. But in this case, just not writing, but talking, and then bookending it with hour-long periods of group conversation before and after. Anyways, that was kind of why we don't write at Write Night, and then why we write at Ora et Labora. That is the specific kind of labora that we do, in addition, to the prayer. So Ora et Labora is like a Saturday morning, first Saturdays of the month thing here.
Like dropping, come and go as you need, and
from 8 to 11, and so that has turned into basically people quietly co-work until every hour on the hour we do a prayer. So like morning prayer at the beginning, and then afterwards Divine Mercy Chaplet, and then
the Angelus.
Angelus, and then end with the Salve Regina. And so, that is actually turned into what Write Night was supposed to be, but also makes more sense. It's like a Saturday morning, it's more subdued. We have coffee. It feels like you're in a study break library or something like that. So again, just trying to flesh out the in-person interactive form of the community was where Write Night came, and then Ora et Labora as well. And trying to unify all of those things and make it as comprehensive as possible. And so that's, I think, where the Snickle has kind of evolved too. And so, and one of the things is, like, as a part of the very earlier parts, being extroverted at Baseline, I really enjoy just like going out by Paige, by Euclid. I love going out and just like, trying to get people jazzed about like the Snickle and many other things as well. But like, so early on I was kind of the hype man for the Snickle. But I think unfairly that made a lot of people equate like, oh, Brad is the Snickle, like he's like maybe the CEO of the Snickle or something like that.
Does 90% of the work.
Yeah, exactly. I am not that. I am just the hype man. So Maura would never endorse this, but she put the team on her back from like day one, and has done like, the buck stops with Maura, like when things need to get done, like, and there's no like way for them to get done, like she's the backdrop. And that started out very early on, like from the very first issue, and so she's just done an amazing job.
It also caused many problems as well,
but it's part of like the growing pains of the organization and all of these things. But like really, like Maura's whole energy has kept like started the Snickle and like been kind of the fuel and everything like that. And then on top of that, like our whole board, like Adriana and Paige was just here, and all of that.
Andrew.
And Andrew up there, recording us, as it were. Like the whole board has been just so instrumental. Again, like it took forever just to get that bare bones issue out.
If it was just us for all the rest of these would not exist.
Right, exactly. Like
it was not sustainable.
Maura has been like the fuel, but they have been the engine and the tires and all of these things of the car, and I'm just sort of the horn. That's like, notice me. So that's how the Snickle actually works. So thank you to the board and all the things that y'all do. And thank you especially to Maura for being like, the closer for the Snickle.
I appreciate that.
So anyways.
But what gives me energy, what gets me excited to keep doing this over and over and over again is, again, like this community and these people. But also like the fact that we've created something, that we've like put it all together, we get to see it like in person, like in our hands, and like what you have in your hands, like that's where it only exists. Like it's not online, it's not on the Ethernet somewhere. It's not like getting run through like some like ChatGPT engine like to feed that behemoth. Like this is the only
Unless
place
it's
it
hacked
exists.
like our Canva. But either way.
Yeah. No, it's like, and so because of that, like it's precious, but also like it's not gonna go anywhere unless someone gives it away, right? Gives it to someone else. And so what I've realized and what I need to honestly like get you to promote more is getting people to give it out, like getting people to distribute. And it could be just taking like when you come to the release party, getting an extra copy for a friend. Or for your parents, or like for your grandma. Like it's really meant, you know, as the primary audience for like this area, as the community, but it doesn't have to stay here, and it shouldn't stay here. Like it should go out into the world, but in a meaningful way, right? In a kind of hand to hand, like, hey, like I think you would really love this, or like, hey, like I know you do art. Like, what about submitting here? And just like bringing those people in and like kind of making yourself a little vulnerable too. Like maybe you don't know this person much, but you know that they are working on a novel maybe, or they're like, you know, do like some like drawings in their free time. Like tell them to like come to a write night, come to an oral labor, and like bring their paints, bring their like knitting.
Or even if you don't know anything about them, you could just be like, hey, you want a snickle? Hey kid, you want a snickle? First one's free. But anyways, no. But to the point of distribution, though, Andrew has been our distribution lead for some time, and he is fantastic as a resource. He is the Fort Knox of actual Snickles. Like, he has the Snickles. He is the Arby's.
Have you ever missed
Snickles.
like a copy or something and you can't find like an old version, like an old issue? Andrew
Or the
has
current
it.
issue. He's
Or even
got
the current
lots
issue.
of them.
Yeah.
I brought the whole stock tonight. So.
Yeah, see, there you go. But again, like if you ever have questions, he will always have issues.
Yeah.
To be able to give you out. Well, okay.
Those issues too.
That sounds wrong. He will have issues to give. And so he'll have issues with the fact that you're asking him questions. And
He has copies. He has copies.
So he has copies. So Andrew always has copies, but he also works with local nodes of distribution. So like I know at Duke, like Dominic Tanzillo is like one of our distributors, right?
Teresa
so like
as well.
You know, well, very fair. But Tanzillo, I feel like he can, you know, he's got this.
The overlapping.
And so and then so trying to find your own Snickle distribution node at your local parish, or becoming that person if you want to be more integrated in all of that with the Snickle community. So
yeah. So homework. I know you guys like, is this a class? No, we got
Surprise
homework for you.
it is.
Surprise quiz, pop quiz. No, this is just surprise homework. Each of you are gonna take at least 3 copies with you tonight, and then give all of them away at some point. Like it doesn't have to be within the next week or next month, but like let's say like by the end of the year, like Christmas gifts, guys.
Oh yeah.
They wrap really well.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. It's very effective.
So yeah, like take a few copies with you on your way out tonight, and just see who you come across. Like keep it in your car, keep it in your backpack or your purse, and yeah, like I think really finding those opportunities to like bring people in, because like I don't know, guys, like the world is like not the best place right now, but this community is such a light in that darkness. It's such like the salt of the earth, and more people should be part of it. I really believe that. Whether it's the Snickle, like the broader, like all Catholic groups that are out there, like I think we really need to bring more people in. So maybe the Snickle is their gateway drug. But take a couple and see what happens. Like you never will regret having one to give out. So I don't know. But thank you guys for all being here. We really have a good time.